friends, Kim from Stamping Imperfection. Thank you for joining me today. I'm playing with some Scrappy Tails Crafts goodies, and today I have the Christmas Wreath Spinner add-on die set and the Winter Snow Trees die set. And you can see all the little dies you get in each of these sets. So I thought I would go ahead and make some Christmas cards. I pulled out some Christmas pattern paper that I had in my stash. I felt like the Plaid really made it feel Christmassy for some reason, and I cut the pattern paper at 4 by 5 1/4. I cut the black mats at 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. I cut the card bases at 4 1/4 by 11, and I scored and folded them at 5 1/2. And then I die cut out the two wreath pieces, one in the darker green and one in the lighter green. I cut out the two different sized trees, and I cut out both pieces of the trees. I used green, and I'm going to put white behind it because I really want that to look like snow on the tree. So I love that. And then I cut out a whole bunch of bows. I cut out some of the flowers, some of the little cardinals, some of the berries, and I'm going to use all of those goodies on the wreaths and a couple little things on the trees. So I'm going to put these together. They're going to be very easy to put together. Once you get the die cutting all done, and you can see I'm using like a scrap piece of paper here. So that is totally not going to show. That's going to go toward my card base, and I'm just cleaning out the glue applicator and putting my liquid glue on the back there, and nobody's ever going to know that that looks like that. I just hate to waste the cardstock. So I'm putting the black mat down first, and then I'll put the pattern paper on top. And for the tree, I'm going to use the red with the snowflakes. The pattern paper was interesting because it had like the same pattern of plaid on each side, just in a larger scale on one side than the other. So I'm using the smaller plaid because I just really liked it. I feel like I'm just feeling traditional Christmas colors this year, and every card I've made, with the exception of just a couple, have all been very traditional colors. And I'm really liking red, white, and black together. I don't know why. I just am finding it really appealing this year. So I just applied, there's one solid wreath piece I made out of the darker green, and I put that on the bottom, and then the lighter color I put on top, and I'm just gluing them down. You could add dimension with foam pieces if you wanted to. Now I'm just going to glue the large bow on, and I decided to put it toward the top of the wreath. You could put it toward the bottom if you wanted to. I'm just poking out a couple of the little things that didn't come out. And I did pop up all the little pieces on the inside, or on that smaller wreath, because I loved the texture that they gave to the finished wreath. It actually made it feel like it had more dimension. Like the texture and dimension was actually really fun. So I decided to put one bow and 4 florals on the first wreath, and then I definitely will add some of these little berries, and you could use, like, you know, gems. On the second one, I'll use more gems, and I love gemstones and pearls and sequins, so I definitely want to use some of those. But I am going to use some gold gems on the center of each one of those florals. And so I'm just going to put those down with a little dab of glue and my special tweezers. And that is that. I'll add a sentiment. Now my sentiment came from the Christmas Icons stamp set, and I just stamped it and heat embossed it in white on black cardstock and just cut it down. And that's the stamp set right there. That's perfect for the advent calendar. And I made an advent calendar in November, and then when we moved to Florida, I forgot to bring it with me. So I'm just gluing that down, and I'm centering it in the middle of the card. And I'm just keeping this quick and simple because I'm going to need to send out Christmas cards very soon. So keeping it simple and using up some of my pattern paper stash. And I love these little spinner add-on pieces for cards. I think they're fantastic. I also want to make a few of them for ornaments on my tree because all of our ornaments are in storage in New York, and so I'll make some ornaments from all of these die pieces or these die sets that I got from Scrappy Tails Crafts, because the variety of Christmas dies that Sabrina designed is astounding. They're beautiful, and I think they're going to make beautiful ornaments. So I decided that for the trees, I just wanted a snowbank. So I just cut a little hill out of white, and I don't stress over it. I'm just going to cut it down to 4 inches because that's the width of the card piece. And I'm just randomly cutting the height down here, and I'll just glue it on, and that will give me some place to put my trees. And I like the looks of that better than just putting them on the red. So for these trees, I'm just going to glue the green piece down on the white piece. And my original plan was to offset them a little bit so some of the white showed around the edges. But then I decided that I have this really pretty delicata, like white shimmer ink pad, and I always forget about it until this time of year. So I definitely want to pull that out because it's like iridescent white. So I'm just pulling out one of my blender brushes, and I'm using a blender brush that I haven't used on anything else, and I'll probably save it just for this white ink or specialty inks. So I'm just putting this along the edges, and I really like this little touch. Now you could also pull out, this would be a great time to pull out those grit pastes or those snowflake pastes, or the, what is that other stuff called? The stickles. I'm sure, if you're like me, you have stickles in snow colors, and, definitely smear some of that stuff on here and it will look great. You just have to give it time to dry. And I'm going to do the same thing with a smaller tree. And you saw that I also kind of dabbed it on the center of the tree a little bit too, because it's the iridescence of this particular ink pad is just so pretty. And for some reason, I just use it during Christmas season, but the ink pad is always ready to go. I've had it for years, and it works beautifully. So it gives me just the look I'm looking for. So I'm going to tuck this a little bit under the larger tree. That's why I only glued it in the center. And then I love this card. I love that paper behind it. I think it's super fun. I'm just going to add a couple of the little cardinals. It comes with 2 cardinals that face each other. So I'll add 2 to one tree and 1 to the other. And then I'm definitely going to put some of my red gems down on the tree. Not too many. I don't think I'm going to put the bow. I thought about it, but I've got a lot of red there. So I just want the red on the trees to be just a little here and there. And I could have put the flowers on and done that too. And I'm using the same sentiment, so that's from the icon set. Just dabbing a little bit more of that ink on. I'm going to put a few foam dots behind this one and give it a little bit of dimension. Since I really haven't given any dimension on this card at all, I'll add the sentiment with some foam and add some dimension there. But how pretty are those trees? So cleverly designed, so it looks like snow. And if you don't want the snow look, put a darker piece of green behind there. Or you can actually inlay the pieces that get die cut out. You can just inlay those back into the tree if you want to. And you could do that in a couple different colors of green as well. You could also actually cut this out in like a white glitter paper and inlay the pieces on the snowy parts, but it really does look like a snowy tree. Like the effect is exactly what you want for a Christmas or winter scene. Like this is not just Christmas. This will work perfectly all winter long. And I usually use my winter stamps all the way through February. But I like that. Isn't that pretty? Now the third card I assembled exactly like I did the first card. I love this plaid that I used here. I did put lots of, you can see I put lots of red gems down on top of that. And again, I'll center that on the card. I'll put all the links to these products below, and I would love it if you give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you're not already subscribed, and click that bell to get notifications every time I upload a new video. Thank you so much for watching, friends, and do watch out. Sabrina's going to have a fantastic Black Friday sale, so check for that on Thursday. Have a wonderful day.